trade is also flourishing in spite of all this, the net-based entities coming up. The what you call the so-called Americanized version is called mom and pop stores, right? There is actually in India you can call it as kirana. They are also doing well. These, what I mean to say is, are the ones who are the engines of our economic growth. And according to me, the surveys are there. That is one dimension. So what has happened is, you don't capture it fully, and then the whole debate, for instance, employment debate is skewed. Very recently I met a person who is serving in a hotel. He's one of those young boys who is providing you dosa. He's, where he's from, place called Tripura, Agartala. From Agartala main train station, 3 hours by bus to his place, and from there he says at least half an hour by walk or cycle. He has come from there. I was amazed actually. People told there is some opportunities here, and he revealed to me 40 people in and around his place have come to Bangalore. They are either in hotel serving or in retail shops, showing you the goods and other things, or they are dog walkers, car washers. Hundreds of jobs they have taken up, these 40 people. And some of them, on an average, very interesting, he says, we make something like 12 to 15,000 per month. Because many of them double up in work. They don't do one single. He says, after I finished this serving in the hotel at 2 p.m., his job is 6 to 2 p.m. He goes and then he stands as a sales person in a retail shop. Shoe shop, chappal shop. He just shows you the chappal and all. The point I want to make is, are these captured as employed? Are they employed people? Are they unemployed people? Or absolutely no clue. Huge amount of migration is taking place in India. The entire east and northeast is coming to south. I'm telling you, which is not adequately. Every beauty parlor in Bangalore you go, or the so-called spa, you will find people from northeast, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, those places. Those girls are all. I'm not, for a minute, I'm not telling this is not good or anything. This is happening. This will continue to happen because of job opportunities in the local location is not much. Point is it fully captured? So the whole employment data debate is, according to me, is futile. If such a level of unemployment is in our country, I tell you, buses would have been burnt, particularly among youth. We are not a very, soft or anything. We are a very volatile. When there was a real rice crisis in 1967, there were riots all over the country. Congress lost the polls, actually. Similarly, about this agriculture, so much was advertised, so much was shown in the television, so much was discussed. The whole Maharashtra farmers are all either dead or dying. But see the election results. Completely, you mean all those people who are dying or in the deathbed came and voted for this Fadnavis? I cannot believe this actually. There is some, the media, the experts are completely diverse from the underlying reality. So my point is, we must continue with NSSO surveys. We should go back to our method of estimating with all deficiency, estimating the non-corporate. It is not unorganized. Let me tell you, these economic experts from imported should know, as per the definition of CSO, what is unorganized? Those who are not covered by any of the acts in India. Shops and Establishment Act, Manufacturing Act, then BD Production and other act, sales tax, nowadays it is GST. All these you are not covered. Who will come under that then? Finally, what we call the Kayendi Idli fellow, near my home, who prepares some idli in a tawa and in a small cart.
Mobile food dispensing vans.
That's all. And then a couple of these street side vendors.
Yes.
That is called unorganized
stuff. Yeah.
And they are actually, according to me, they are much better organized than multinational corporation. Anyhow, that is the definition of unorganized. So this partnership proprietorship firms who run this Adiga hotels, Udupi hotels, Kamath hotels, huge number of transport business, Sharma travel, that travel, this travel, Lada travel, all these people don't come under unorganized. Much better, the word is non-corporate. And the surveys earlier done must be continued. 1. 2, we must stop imported economists from advising the government. Much better will be to conduct a test, MCQ test type of thing on Indian economy to them. No, they are great economists. Again and again, I am not denying that. They are great, but let them do work in MIT and those countries. But not, have they done any work in India? That is very important. This one model fits all is not an one shirt fits all or one size fits all is not an appropriate method at all. So my conclusion in the debate is, as you rightly pointed out in the beginning, most of these experts who are conducting the debate do not have a clue to the mechanism of computing our Indian economy, various sectors. Another atrocious thing, Pranab Sen, who was earlier chief statistician, he says in recent interview that they assume in every sector of the economy, sector mean this what we were talking about, transport, construction. The assumption is the so-called quote unquote unorganized is behaving the same way. Behaving mean is giving you the results or giving you the output the same way as in the corporate sector. Can you beat that? If L&T, which is in the construction business, or this DHFL or the Shriram Properties, they make certain amount of benefits or returns in economic term, it is assumed all the local contractors are also making the same thing. Can there be any more absurd assumption than this? Your capital output ratio is phenomenally advantageous in the unorganized sector, quote unquote. You know why? I'll tell you 2-3 examples. People always say the capital is not used properly by this, which is untrue. You get into a bus in any of the small towns, private bus, it will be a small board there, 45 to sit and some 30 to stand. The bus will carry at least 5 times more than the number.
That's true. That's true.
I have traveled from Sindri to Dhanbad once actually. Right side of the driver, there were 2 fellows sitting. Ambassador car. I was very shocked actually. I told, who is driving that car? That fellow called Chup. You want to go to Dhanbad? You go. Sit. And later on I counted, there were something like 9.5 people in the ambassador.
One guy was half out.
Partly out, partly in. He was not fully in. So you call them not using capital efficiently? What is this rubbish? If you have a tie, if you have a full suit, if you go to North Block, then you get recruited in India. And only with a tie you can tell a lie. That's very important in India. You never attempt to tell a lie without a tie. So if that is the criteria, and these people propagate and everybody claps also, that these these small fellows are not using capital efficiently. They are I will say the big companies, starting with the big brother, right, to everybody, they are actually most inefficient in using capital, if you ask me. Not these fellows. These fellows, you go to a very, very chota restaurant, the way it clean the plate and throws you out of the place.
People mover, yes.
Now, in 5-star, have a coffee, you can sit there for discussion for 3-4 hours, even though they talk you.
But also remember that the 5-star coffee is 500 rupees, whereas the roadside coffee is probably 15 rupees.
So that is what I call, here they make more money in terms of turnover.
Turnover,
not
correct.
Margin.
Correct.
5-star only in margin. But these people in turnover compensate phenomenally, even though the margins are very, very small. So accusing them of not efficiently using capital is the biggest crime done by all our experts, economists, and others. So if you have a tie, don't appoint him as a chief economic advisor. That is my asking first remove the tie and then you. No, I may look very, very crude and harsh, but I am really pained the way our economy has been conducted, and I'm worried that it will continue to be conducted in the same fashion, based on the discussion on these big four firms. You know that KPMG, Deloitte, and other, and we will have another discussion on these accounting firms.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For all the shenanigans, so much amount of support to them.
Yes.
All these firms are, Bartley Bhai has been told you can't audit the banking thing for next 1 or 2 years. Every one of these firms, and in US they are extremely angry because these firms have facilitated the big companies to hold hide funds in the tax havens.
And the same thing they did in India also. They helped all the politicians.
But they are the one who are ruling.
Yes.
No decision of this government of India ever in the last 40 years have been done without the nod from the big four. Let me tell you very clearly, the big four are the ones who rule this country. The coconut economists are the ones who advise, and the common brown people are the ones who suffer.
Viewers, the backdrop that you're seeing when I am on the screen is indeed the North Block. It was put there with an intent, and the lighting was done by Philips, and thank you, Philips. It does look nice, the blue light. I believe you can also change colors. I haven't seen the other colors, but the long story short, Professor RV, I want to have one small takeaway for the viewers. What
Just one point. You told it is a North Block, right?
Yes.
I remember Palkewala once famously told that India's progress is blocked between North Block and South Block.
Well, those are the days of raging socialism, so you can't blame him for that. At least now those socialistic fire spirits have kind of subsided a little bit, not gone away. Now, Professor RV, I have a question for you. Now, let's say instead of looking at the employment data to say that the computing the employment, why not the consumption data, like for example GST revenues, be used by the government to come up with some sort of a model for computing the GDP? Then why I'm asking?
No, this has been advised in other contexts also. There are, basically 3 ways you can construct GDP. One is the expenditure basis, consumption basis. Another is in terms of the factor income, in terms of how much is earned by dividend income, how much is earned by what we can call the salary wages. That is one income-based method. Other is expenditure-based method. Third is output-based method. Straight away, value addition in terms of sales minus. The expenditure-based method is very, very complex in a country like India. We have to have some tools, like for instance tax. If you take very, very deficient tool, because something like 20% of the economy is not taxed. 20% of GDP is not taxed because of agriculture is excluded from GDP. So we do not have a clear clue. We can have some indirect estimate like a number of tractors purchased or amount of fertilizer bought, but those are very, very rough estimate pertaining to ownership forms only. If I am an agriculture laborer, why would I buy a tractor early? Right? So the consumption based is not very easy actually in terms of estimating. So we have a combination of, we have not been doing very badly. Incidentally, we have a eminent and good statistical people actually whose talents have not been recognized or appreciated. So what is currently done is, partly we use the income method, partly we use in some areas consumption method also. That's not, but what you say is something we should aim in the, perhaps on a long-term basis in order to expand the mechanisms actually.
Professor, the reason I'm saying that is like for the exact reason you mentioned, that agriculture, which is 50% of the workforce, is not being taxed at all, and therefore you don't have a view into what kind of employment they are doing and what kind of numbers they are generating and so on. Sir, thank you very much, Professor RV. Now the budget is upon us, and we'll probably, as usual, we give our advice unasked for advice, whether Nirmala Sitharamanji looks at it and nods her head or not. But I do have a few things that I would like to also add, because I'm also getting good at giving unasked for advice. So hopefully we will do that talk, because it's coming up in about 10 days time. Maybe our next hangout will be on what should be in the next budget and what kind of radical reform.
I think the budget is on 5th. Before that, we will have one.
We will have one. Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor RV.
That anybody is going to listen to the type of suggestions you give.
Sir, sometimes you never know. The most outrageous ones will at least get a look in. I'm hoping to give some outrageous suggestions.
I should put a full suit and a tie first of all. Then, and I should also get one certificate from somebody who has studied in Long Island or Tall Mountain. There are plenty of universities like that in US, right?
Yes. The universities, the education has become a business now. In fact, they are very reliant on foreign students to come, attend there, pay through their nose. Yes. They don't care what happens to them after that. And in fact, that's a different story. There was recently there was what do I call that? Anyway, we'll talk about that later. They made up university where it was set up to just bring down some of these racketeers, and many students.
Yeah. I think PGurus covered it extensively.
Yes. I had
in Kentucky there used to be one, if you can call it university. Believe me, they used to give 1 minute MBA.
I see.
First 50 seconds is first 30 seconds is first year.
I see.
Then 5 seconds is internship between the 2 years, and the remaining portion is second year.
I see.
All subjects covered. Economics, economics is covered like that. Supply demand should match. That's all. Economics is over.
Amazing.
Something like in those days, $100 you have to send by check or whatever it is.
I see.
And we will send you the certificate.
Those things are there. Even long distance education, it's called. It's there. It fills some niche gaps. Service sector again. Professor, one concern I have, I mean, we can talk about this for a longer time, but there are some types of jobs that have a great multiplier associated with them. That is the kind of jobs that need to be created in India, because those multipliers will sustain the economy, the ecosystem for a lot longer time. Service is fine. Service is growing mainly because both husband and wife are working. But there may come a time, not in too distant a future, that the MNCs don't have that growth anymore, and only one person may work. In that case, one of the members of the family, Mr. Mom or the real mom, starts staying at home, cooking food, and the service industry will definitely slow down, because I don't think that kind of a growth you will see in other cities like in Bangalore. Bangalore has been a very lot of floating population plus high paying jobs.
Yeah, I think one has to think about it. But as of now, we have huge amount of labor availability, but not many people are realizing the so-called quote unquote these jobs have tremendous amount of earning. I'll tell you, my cook works at 7 places. He starts morning 5 o'clock, 5, 6:30, 7, 8:30. And in between he has some lunch and then some small sleep, and again in the evening. 7 houses. Each house is collecting anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000 rupees.
Wow.
Net he collects something like 35,000 rupees. My plumber, he says he is earning around 40,000.
And all this is untaxed.
Per call he is charging 300 to 500.
And all this is untaxed.
No tax, nothing. Cash. And most of them collect only cash.
Cash, right.
Today.
Right.
In terms of, my neighbor, this dog walker, he in the morning he starts around 5:30 up to 9 o'clock. Something like 7 dogs he walks. For each dog he collects 1,200 rupees. Nothing. That's a job for him. And then he washes cars.
Mm.
Each car he collects 50 rupees per week.
Mm.
Four times a week, it does mean 200 rupees. And he washes something like 25 cars, morning and evening put together. Now, what I want to say is, people don't realize these are, I won't say they are spectacularly paying or anything like that, but they are not, as what you may loosely call poor type of situation or anything.
Yes.
Many of them have cash in hand. And 25,000-30,000 is not, I would say, is not a very bad thing.
That's not a bad thing at all. That's not a bad thing at all. Sir,
Right.
I had a question about the dog walker. In the US, the owner usually walks the dog, and they also carry the poop bag. When the dog, when dog walks, it is going to be one with.
Don't try to introduce here. Don't try to introduce all this. What do you call in India as of now? Nothing. Just dog walks, comes back. That's all. There is, and then you will say that in US one person is walking the dog, another person is poop collector is separate who goes behind. Say right? Yeah.
See, that way you can.
Dog walker itself is a recent phenomenon. Actually, one fellow, one joke is in my neighborhood, one fellow got so angry that the other fellow is employing a dog walker. So he got very angry. He employed another one fellow to walk instead of him. Instead of he going in the morning walk, he told you go for a walk. So, he says he has got a dog walker. I have another walker who will walk for me. So go. So what you say is correct. Environmental friendly and like road. The type of muck in the road already. This is not something which is of major concern or anything. According to the major concern is huge potholes in the road. I tell you, every day at least 2-3 places the two-wheeler fellow skids on the pothole. That's the reason many of them drive on the footpath.
Right.
They don't drive on the road. They have huge craters in the road. And, those are much larger. That is, according to me, we must have proper roads where you can drive without fear or worry. Right? That's very, very important. That's not done.
Yeah, always a fascinating discussion when we talk with Professor RV. Thank you very much, sir.